Alright, all you VOT control freaks out there, suppose you want to exert some extra control over that aspiration segment by using a pre-existing sound, instead of selecting it from the sound you just happen to have on hand. Let's figure out how to do that. So here we are in Praat. We have our VOT continuum script called up. We have our demonstration sounds in the window, tear and deer, and I also have this other sound that I've already put in there, which I've called my favorite aspiration. So this consists of an aspiration that I'd like to use for this continuum, and maybe I have it called up already because I've filtered it, I've edited it, I've set it to the exact right intensity that I want, or maybe I want to use it for multiple continua, and I want to make sure that I have the exact same selection every time. This is a good way to ensure that I can do that. So the way to do it in the script, run the script and use this method of choosing aspiration. There's a little drop-down menu. We haven't used it so far in any of these videos. We've always selected it from the original words, but now we can toggle that down to use a pre-made VOT aspiration segment. That's the only thing we need to change in the script in the demonstration mode. So we can run it, but oh, I almost forgot. We're not going to save any files yet. So the voiced onset sound is deer. The voiceless onset sound is tear, although that won't really matter this time, because it's going to have us just choose the sound we want for that aspiration. So I'm going to click right on that object, press continue, and the only timing landmark it's going to have me choose is the onset of the vowel in the voiced onset word. And because this is the demonstration sound, it already snapped to the right time point. So when I press continue, it's going to do all the work I need, and here's my continuum. Let's see what it sounds like.
Deer, 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 deer.
Perfect. So we can also do something a little out of the ordinary by calling in a file that's not really an aspiration at all, but in this case, just the burst. So I have this little dip part, but the rest of the sound is silent. So when I use this as the aspiration segment, all it's going to do is put a little silent gap in between the burst and the vowel. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm going to again select the use a pre-made segment. I'm again going to deny us the pleasure of saving any sounds in this folder and just see how the script runs. It's going to select deer, tear, and now I'm going to select just the burst. It's going to snap to that vowel onset and create our continuum. Now on the D end, we won't really notice any change.
Deer,
But on the other end, we notice this silent gap.
deer,
And it really doesn't sound like
Deer.
a typical voiceless sound.
deer.
And the reason is, what VOT is not a gap in between the burst and the vowel. It actually has to be filled with an aperiodic sound. Another interesting thing we can do is actually insert a kind of sound that doesn't really make sense at all because it's not really speech. So for example, we can put in a tone complex to stand in as an aspiration segment. We're still going to have to select it as a pre-made sound, and we're not going to save any sounds in this demonstration. See how the script looks when we use a tone complex. Everything else is going to select itself automatically except this tone complex. We'll press continue. And now this T is going to sound kind of goofy.
Deer, deer,
And if we zoom in, what we see is this non-speech sound, but what we've done with it is make sure that its properties in the time domain are exactly the time we want. In this case, 70 milliseconds of VOT. So you can imagine making a VOT continuum using either a really nicely arranged pre-recorded segment or something kind of perverse, like a non-speech sound, like a whistle or a tone complex or anything you want. So when you need that extra control and something you want to extend across multiple continuum sets, you can be sure to use that option in the script, which is to use a pre-made VOT aspiration segment.